Well, boys, it's time for yet another stellar episode of the Red Zone Warriors Smackdown. But before we get started with the recap, I thought I should mention a little something, a little small factoid, if you will. You know, Jay, if the playoffs started today, there would be 4 teams from the amazing Nomad Division represented, while the bare minimum possible of 2 teams would be in attendance from the Vegas Division. Just thought I would share that little tidbit with you losers.
Speaking of losers, let's go ahead and start this week with what might quite possibly be the biggest loser of them all. And Raj, I got a question for you, bud. How does it feel to get fucked by a sparkler? And I'm only asking because I see that you have experience in such matters. After the shellacking that you took from Deldre's black sparkler this week.
A sparkler can seriously burn a child, so always hold it at arm's length. Not the child, the sparkler. Sparklers, handle with care.
Listen, congrats on your win there, Deldre. But before you get too excited, just remember it was the Chumpettes. So, not a whole lot to brag about here, bud.
Yeah, it's pretty much a layup when you're competing against the Chumpettes. Sure as shit. And then, well, Jay, we have Dave. Dave, buddy, I know your team is named Cruise Control, but you seem to have fallen asleep at the wheel, my friend. How do you lose to the dumpster fire team of Eric's? Well, I'll tell you how, Dave. It's when you have both Bills running backs not only getting injured on the same game, but both being in your lineup. Both of them. That would be consecutively at the same time, then both playing in your starting lineup together and both getting hurt. None of that is good. Nothing of what I just said is good for you. Come on, Dave. I thought Eric was the rookie here.
Dave. Clark Griswold. You're disappointing me. Truly, truly disappointing me. Now, I would just like to go ahead and point out here that Rob and I have once again posted the 2 highest scores of the week in the entire fucking league. And I did so in my dominating win over Ryan's "My year is now officially over." Look, I'm just going to go ahead and say this. Dude, Rob, my team is so fucking good that when Antonio Brown sees that my quarterback, Jay Cutler, didn't throw any touchdowns for me this week, he went ahead and threw a touchdown pass for me just to thank me for the lovely fruit basket that I sent him.
He's like that, Jay. He's a good guy like that.
He's really, really grateful, really good guy.
Jimmer, I don't even know what to say to you right now, buddy. I mean, I think you know that you let the whole league down. No, you know what? Really, the whole goddamn United States of America. You let us all down.
You blew it!
Allowing the Turdy Birds to get yet another win. You know what? The thought of Scott winning another game this season, well, it just...
Having an oh God! Why didn't anybody tell me?
This makes me want to puke.
I'm right there with you, bud.
You know, Bradius, way to take a stab at the champ, Brad. Nice job out of you. You put up a nice number, a nice 148.4 point total, the second highest amount of points you've put up all season. But Brad, when you're playing the champ, you put up near 150 points, but you still lose by 42. 42, you still lose by 42. I'd like to now publicly thank at this time both Demarius Thomas and Golden Tate, the second love of my life after Jordy Nelson, for putting up their collective feet on Brad's neck to the tune of 37 points respectively apiece. Damn. You know, Brad, in times like these, you got to remember.
A wiser fellow than myself once said, sometimes you eat the bar, and sometimes the bar, well, he eats you.
You can just call me Yogi.
Just call him Yogi. That's gotta hurt. Gotta hurt. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and move on here to this coming week's matchups. The matchups that you bitches are going to lose to the likes of me or the champ over there. So, we're going to start off here with what, we all know is going to be a blowout of epic proportions when the two-time champ, that would be me, plays the Chumpettes. And plays really, I mean, the correct word here actually would probably be drubs them. I mean, he just kicks the living shit out of them. Raj, I almost feel bad for you. Oh, wait, never mind. You know what, just consider this weekend's ass whipping part of your couch cup penalties, dick.
Couch cup penalties keep happening. Flowing like a river they are. Next up we have Jim playing with, well, himself. That's right, boys. The Jimmer is helping the European vacationing Dave out with his team, well, because apparently Europe is a third world country with little or no internet access. Shockingly. Didn't really think that was the case. So, Jim, practice safe sex and go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself. Exactly. All right, well, look, it looks like Ryan's year will continue to be over as he faces one of the two dominant, and using this term extremely loosely here.
Very loosely.
Very loosely. One of the two dominant teams of his division. Now, Deldre, dude, if you can't beat Ryan, well, maybe your year is over. And speaking of boring matchups, Scott is in a tickle fight this week with Brad.
No! Under the knees.
And, we all have this sinking feeling that the Falcoholics are going to pull this one out of their ass along with the remains of about 57 cheeseburgers.
You probably ain't even had your ultrasound yet, have you, dog? I'll give it to you right now. I hear chicken. I hear cola fizz and mustard and relish coagulating together with French fries and onion rings, Randy, but you know what? I don't hear a heart, motherfucker.
But we're all rooting for AJ Unchained this week. Let's just hope that his team somehow kicks the ever-living shit out of the Hamburglers team.
Yes, let's hope for that. Eric, your luck is running out this week, my friend. There will be none of this winning with zeros in your lineup. There will be no squeaking by scoring around 100 measly points. No, I am not in the vagina division after all. You're going to have to put up a bigger fight than that, if that's even possible. You're probably going to have to double your average point total to not be embarrassed this week when you're playing the likes of the champion. Let's just try to keep it somewhat competitive, Eric. Just somewhat competitive. Well, we've come
just a little competitive.
Yeah, just make my heart beat, palpitate just a little bit faster, at least for a few minutes, at least something. Give me something, man. I'm just getting bored over here. Getting bored. Well, we've come to the end of yet another astounding session of the RZW Smackdown. But don't worry, you bunch of goat fuckers. Because we'll be back next week to insult you and amaze you, frankly. So until then, keep sucking. We out.
Fantasy, football, fantasy, football, fantasy.
Like an end zone that ends in a waterfall.
A shower that showers you in tiny footballs.
It's a football fantasy like no other.
Like having a best friend that's your quarterback brother. Fantasy, fantasy, football, fantasy, 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 football, fantasy. If you like football.